Okay. Well, I have, as usual, a little bit of visuals because I tend to think in pictures. So wanted to just show you some things. So, with gratitude, it's this whole thing of moving the feeling. Somebody said something to me one time, which I thought was really interesting, where they said, um, being being thankful is from the head, but gratitude is from the heart. And so I think we kind of need both. Is to be able to be conscious in a mindful way of seeing things to be grateful for, but then really putting it down into the heart, because when it goes there, the vibration with the magnetics is going to go further out. The electromagnetic field of the head is smaller than the electromagnetic field of the heart space. So I think we want to make sure that we're taking stuff in and just really feeling it and then sending it out. This isn't advancing. Sorry, I'm gonna. Okay, there we go. So this one too is like, when you vibrate in a high frequency of joy, appreciation, and gratitude, there's a flow that happens between atoms and our cells, and the stars in the world. And Peggy Black writes this where, where we have this relationship going on between all things. And so we know today that, your heart rate is better, your organs perform better in your body, the mind works better, and all kinds of things from gratitude. And there was a study done years ago. I could pull it up, but I'm not going to. But it really had said that if we could put thankfulness in a bottle and sell it, we'd have a healthier world. And so it benefits us, not just in that, just a physiological way, but also in other ways. But this, I've always appreciated this scale. It came from Heart Math Institute years ago, but just measuring like what the feeling of frustration is versus the feeling of appreciation, what that does to just your heart rate. So it's very interesting, that we want to have coherence, we want to be in a nice flow of things. And I know for sure that if I am looking at something that's a problem, instead of what could be better, I am definitely feeling the unrest in my system, or my sympathetic nervous system gets kicked up, my cortisol levels rise. And I think that's part of what people will start feeling the coming down from. Is it'll be really nice if people's cortisol levels drop a little bit. If people's cortisol level drop, their immune system works better, all systems work better, the way the brain operates. So I think if somebody said, you never noticed how tight you were, or how, much you were holding, things like that, is that it's like coming off of having a cold. When you're no longer blowing your nose and you're no longer feeling stuffed up or can't hear real well, it's just so much more ease. So, if we choose gratitude, we're going to be feeling the ease more. So I am going to change something on this because I don't know how to have your pictures. Not take up my whole screen. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. This is Barbara. I can never pronounce her full name, but anyways, she's saying that everything changes when you start to emit your own frequency rather than absorbing the frequencies around you. And when you start to imprint your intent on the universe rather than receiving, the imprinted existence. Can you guys see that? Okay, so that's huge, because a lot of times, throughout this whole last period where there's been so much unrest, is that we have to really choose the feeling we live in rather than what is being offered to us. And so one way that I do that is I play these little games with myself. So, when there's a million things to be awfulizing about, is like I have to switch it because I know if I go down that road, my vibration drops. I won't create what I'm looking for. I'll feel terrible. And so I don't like feeling bad. It's just also like I can't eat foods that don't agree with me because I just don't like feeling bad. so so I tend to shift things as quickly as I can or really be careful about the feeling that I'm in and what I want to project out into the world. So, to choose gratitude versus awfulizing. So if I see something like, let's say I feel judged or somebody not accepting me or you know, making rude comments or something like that, I could get on that and I could get into the story of that. Or I can flip it and say, well, what do I feel grateful for? And a simple flip would be that, I feel really grateful that there's been some people that have accepted me in my life. Um, and this happened a lot when I was first coming into energy stuff, is people would think, oh, you and your woo woo and you and your, and I still, experience that sometimes. Um, and so one way to do that was to be able to say, well, I feel so grateful that at least I have some friends that get it, that can roll in that same world with me. And then I might shift and I might have, like in my past, I would go pick up books on metaphysics. And then I would think, well, gosh, people writing this stuff, they're seeing it. They saw it before I did. And isn't that so neat? And just to have that idea that there's like-minded people. If I'm lacking in something, wishing I had something, then I have to switch and go, I'm so grateful for what I do have. Or I shift into going, I'm looking forward to. So on the part of being judged in my past, I would say, I'm looking forward to more people expanding and experiencing energy because then there's no denial of this unseen world. And so I would call in what I'd be looking for. Because you could sit and harp on what is, but the what is isn't going to change. It's just going to keep getting the energy unless we shift and pull in what it is that we're looking for. So I love to play that game. Anytime I feel a rub about anything, I try to flip it so I can reclaim my nice feeling. And as you reclaim that nice feeling, it's like then you get to feel it. It serves you, but it serves the people around you. And then it goes out into the planet and then everything vibrates higher. Do you find that? So another one that, whoops, sorry, is I like to play this game of having the eyes for gratitude. And that was really easy for me back when, some of you may know this about me and some might not, but there was a period in 1999 where I stepped out of a shower and then I was filled with nerve pain. So I couldn't walk hardly at all and I couldn't sit for 6 years and I lived with chronic pain. It was very nerve pain. And so it's like I began to, at that time, have the eyes for gratitude about the smallest things, you know. Because when you go small, it's relatable and you've experienced it. Because, when somebody said, I remember when I was young and teachers or parents or something would say, well, you should be grateful that you have this. There's children in the world that don't. That was too removed for me, even though I also, on one level, could appreciate it. But direct experience when I've traveled in other countries where the poverty is just so intense, then that really wakes something up in you. I remember being in Guatemala and my brother was juggling and he juggled toilet paper one time and it unraveled and everybody jumped in to grab the pieces, like it was like gold, And when there was no running water anywhere, or the electricity went out at 1 in the afternoon, or the whole time was with candles in the evenings, and where there just wasn't much, that direct experience then allowed me to come home, and I would be so grateful, when I could just flick on a switch and have electricity. And when I was injured, I'd be so grateful if I could sit for a little bit longer with less pain, or if I could take a shower without all the towels underneath my feet to protect me from the nerve pain, you know. So it's like having the eyes for gratitude. And now it's I find myself like I don't go out a whole lot now because of COVID, but I was driving the other day and and I was trying to have the eyes for gratitude, and I looked and I saw somebody on a bus bench. And just that gave me that place of saying, I am so grateful I don't have to ride the bus anymore. Then I went down that and I was like, I'm grateful I have a car. I'm grateful I have the freedom. You know, I'm grateful I can sit in a car. I have the freedom to drive if I wanted to. You know, and you can go down a rampage with something just as simple as that. And then I passed a laundromat, and I remember having to bring everything to the laundromat and sit in the laundromat. And I remember a lot of times not being able to do that until it was evening. And then in the evening, it felt a little less safe, you know? And so I could remember that. And then I started thinking of all the people who are still doing that, you know? So I felt incredible gratitude. And then I moved into, I'm looking forward to when all people have what they need, you know? I'm looking forward to all people feeling safe. I'm looking forward to, I'm calling that in, you know, because as multidimensional people, we can call that in, you know. It isn't just what's right here. It's that everything already exists. You know? So I like to play, you know, when people say I'm working on this about myself, I like to say I'm playing with this. So I'm really playing with things not getting lost on me, you know, that when something happens, I can really appreciate it. You know, that I take it in, that it doesn't just kind of come in for a second and leave, but I witness it, you know, because in the witnessing, you're seeing it, and then you lock on. And you know, with quantum physics, it's like whatever can be observed, we lock into, you know, we lock that into a place. So if somebody said, oh, it's going to take you 4 months to heal from this, if we look at that and go into that 4 months and believe it, we've locked it in, you know? So it's like if I can feel appreciation or gratitude for something, I want to lock into that, and I want to ask for more of that. And then I want to ask for more of that, not just for myself, but that it also goes out. So anything I get to feel grateful for, I try to push out into the rest of the field, you know, all people, everybody on the planet, everybody in my city, everybody in my family, everybody on the planet. You know? So it's like playing with that. So another thing I wanted to kind of just talk about and then hear from you is like, could you become the reason for people to feel grateful? Um, if you can think of a time when somebody did something for you, just how that made you feel. And it can be so simple. And are we doing that? Because if we help other people to feel grateful for something, just think how that is vibrating out into the world. So it doesn't take anything from me to try to nudge people to a more grateful feeling. And then I benefit. You know, everybody benefits. So right now, my mom is living with me, but a lot of my last few years has been where I live alone. And for those of you who live alone, you might know just like how special it is when somebody just calls to say, how are you? You know, in my old depressed days when I was younger and alone before I married or anything, and before I had shifted out of my depression or anxiety, is I used to think, wow, I could be dead and nobody would know because nobody called. So it's just a simple thing as like calling in to check on somebody. Or I have a friend that I was a pretty new friend, actually met at Lake Harriet, and I ended up with a cold one time. And she called and said, I'm in your neighborhood and I just made you some homemade chicken soup and I'm going to drop it off on your doorstep. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hardly knew this person. And it was so huge. So I'm wondering if we could just open this up for a minute, and if you could think of something that was simple that somebody did that you were touched by.
Yeah, I can relate totally. One day, a few months back, I was having a super bad day. And when I get really like anxious and feeling really, well, I was already in depression at that point, but I was feeling really bad. But I don't want to reach out to people then because I don't want to burden them. But then my dear friend Ellen called me, and I tell you, I'm so grateful for her friendship, even more so, I think, now through COVID than ever before. And it brings me a new appreciation for her, because it was just, I would never have reached out, but she reached out to me, and it made a world of difference for me. I don't even know if she realizes that, but it made a huge, huge difference for me.
That's
So
so cool.
I was so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I work in a Catholic seminary. I'm a librarian, and I work with many people who have very different political views than I do. And it's been a time of real growth to find friends everywhere, very different from when I lived in Minneapolis, and I lived in a very narrowly defined world. And about a month ago, one of my colleagues, with whom I'd just been reaching out to ask how things were going with his teaching and everything. He's got 7 kids, and they're busy all the time. But he showed up with a loaf of homemade sourdough bread for me. And I was thinking he could have kept that for his family, because that's a big deal to make homemade sourdough bread. But I was just blown away by
Wow.
his generosity and how he lives out his faith every day. It doesn't matter what you believe, but that you are my colleague.
Wow. Thanks, Ginny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the sometimes just the simplicity. You know, I have a new neighbor, you know, because I just moved, and you know, he came over the other day and he goes, I just got a new snowblower, so it's going to be easier for me to snowblow your place. And I was just like, oh my God, you know, woohoo, yeah, you know. Or just my mom today, when I was trying to prepare for meditation, then, you know, I smelled her cooking my eggs. And I cook my own eggs because I kind of have a preference of how I do it. But I was so grateful because I wanted the time, you know, and it was without asking or anything. It was just her intuiting that today is a different day, you know. So it's in these little things, if we can kind of really think about those, and then how do we do it for others, you know? Because it's that one thing about feeling it for ourselves and being in that really good place, but just having the eyes for what would just make somebody be able to have their life easier, or they move into a state of gratitude, because that goes out into the world. And we know that gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. And if we vibrate high, then the universe is going to match that vibration and bring in higher stuff for us. So it's like, why wouldn't we? You know? Does anybody else have anything you want to share? Okay. Yeah, so then that other question on there is like, do others get to determine our level of gratitude? It's like, no, we can't afford to do it that way. We really cannot afford to do it that way. We've got to do it. And we've got to kind of move people along. And I love this picture because it's like, you know, this little elephant nudging. That's sometimes all we have to do is when people are going down in a story or an outcome that we're not looking for, then we just have to sometimes nudge, you know? Or sometimes, like, you remember the old records, and you had to, like, every now and then nudge the needle so it wouldn't be repeating. is we have to nudge ourselves and nudge others from repeating where we've been or what is to really move to where we want to be. The other little thing I do if I need to feel grateful about something, or if I'm focused on something, I like to do wordles. I like to do, because I like imagery, is I like to kind of think about what can I find that I feel grateful for. And so right now, it's like I feel grateful for knowing that I have an unseen world I can rely on. That before I came into energy, it felt pretty alone a lot of times and limited. But now it's like I'm constantly trying to call in stuff or chat with my guides, and I don't always have the gifts of people who see them or auditorily hear them. I'm a feeler. And so I can feel when the vibration rises, or I can feel when it goes down, and I can feel if there's something popping in sometimes to assist. And it happens more when I ask. When I start saying, hey, you guys, whoever's the expert in this area, you need to come in. Hey, you guys, I want to see something differently. So bring it all on, And so it's that part. So it's not only just that part about being grateful for the things in our seen world and the things that assist us in feeling like we have what we need on a material level, but it's like we have what we need through the unseens as well. So, doing the Wordle, then I started to come up with a lot of that again. And it was like, oh yeah, So no matter where you are, it's like the bringing your consciousness up to that recognition and the awareness of it. So, we want to breathe light, we want to breathe energy or gratitude out into the world, and it's going to take hold. It's going to create more. We do not have to care or even know what it's going to create. We think we know what we need, and on some levels we do, like we need a leader. We need a leader with compassion. We need people a little more open, but then we also can trust that the universe has even bigger and better ideas for us, So it's that breathing that out in there. One of my other favorite lines all the time is to kind of just say, let gratitude be the attitude, is boy, if we can just come into that place of attitude for it, we imprint it onto our system, we imprint it into our energy field, and then it goes out again. So go ahead and relax, get yourself comfortable where you are. And Gary, if we could have a little music. So just take a couple deep, relaxing breaths. I'm going to work the energies a little bit. And so we're going to ask that your system settle into the wholeness of yourself, into the divine essence of who you are. That your higher self direct the session for yourself, allowing in only those energies that are in service to you. We're going to ask that through this meditation, we're able to help to imprint the planet through the higher vibrations and frequencies achieved, through the visions. And we're going to ask that gratitude just be one of the routes to getting to the higher frequencies. So we're going to ask that your inner eye and your higher self just observe and acknowledge within your physical body, your earth suit, the many different systems that are doing their part so that you can have this physical experience on the planet. And just spend a moment giving thanks. So feel into the wisdom of your bones. and how they support your system. And feel into your muscles, allowing you the strength and the stability. And observe your circulatory system or your nervous system, the feeling of things calming down, the breath, and allow your system to just release the holding that it's been doing in response to the external. And thank your respiratory system for allowing you to breathe good air today, or to breathe deeply. And your digestive system for working on your behalf. And know that your energy systems are also working on your behalf. That your chakras are interfacing with your mind and body and all of your energy fields. They are all in constant attendance, regulating and monitoring and clearing and attracting for you. Your etheric field, your emotional field, your physical field, your spiritual and mental fields, and your higher self, your guides, and the cosmos, the stars, and all the space that holds whatever we've experienced, the past, the future, that it holds everything. And know that you are a source, an energy source, and that you are source energy participating in the expansion of consciousness on this planet. And imagine the powerful transmissions of your mind and your vibration, transmitting signals to your body, to others around you, and out into the field of creation. And imagine your capacity to experience yourself full as multidimensional beings. You have the power to increase your vibration, connect to divine thought, create the feelings you want to manifest all the possibilities that are available to you. And breathe in that enormity of what's possible. There are no limitations. Imagine how exciting that would be and what that would mean. Us creating the world as we want it to be. Imagine the gratitude as we look to what we can create. the wisdom of other cultures, experiencing the gratitude before they receive. So extend that feeling of gratitude out into your energy field, moving it out into the room that you're in. And take your consciousness beyond your home, beyond your community, beyond the state that you're in. And let's move it past country. So we're connecting to the planets, to the space and the field where the answers are, where the realities exist. And trust now that your energy and consciousness can go out into the field. And let's pinpoint within the field what we're looking for. Knowing that we can help shape the planet by bringing in that which we desire. Pure positive energy, pure potential. Trust your consciousness to scan the field and locate where these higher realities exist. And relax and breathe and imagine feeling into pockets of reality within the field that hold a higher vibration. And trust that the consciousness, your energy, and your guides will attend to the task to bring in what we're looking for. So let's pull in goodness. Let's act like our thought is a tractor beam, pulling in goodness, things we can be proud of. Bringing in respect and abundance. Calling in for justice and innovations or answers. Bringing in remedies and vaccinations. And feel into the pockets of calm for the planet to bring in. The calm that neutralizes the divisiveness and honors all people. And send out your filaments to make it obvious what servant leaders will need to assist this administration. Ones that will elevate the country's ideals and policies. And imagine what it would feel like to not be worried. Feel that ease. And now picture people of all ages being healthy and healed. And picture people all over the planet having what they need, whether it's access to health care, a healthy environment, the funds, anything that's necessary to fulfill your needs and the needs of all people. Imagine the hopes and dreams of families being able to hug and kiss each other and see them all together. Witness the people of all colors and ethnicities loving and playing and working together, helping each other. And feel the feelings of freedom as people mingle and attend gatherings and events. And picture a world where gender doesn't matter, where love is love. And where spiritual preferences are honored and respected, and that people are curious and learn from each other to expand what it is we know. And call in the capacity for all people to experience more of their multidimensionality, more awareness of how their thoughts are creating reality, and how we can play in the energy. And let's dial up our vibration, dial up our divine thoughts and feelings, and make a firm and friendly request of yourself and the field to manifest that which is possible. And lastly, let's trust that the unseens will continue to guide us, giving us insights and creative responses and innovations to all of our issues. And that it come through with less effort and more ease. And that we have the awareness to try to keep our eye on gratitude and appreciation. What we're looking forward to and what we're calling in. We ask that each of your energies are lifted, that the higher frequencies are calibrated, and that you integrate the energies with ease so that you can share that with the world. I ask that you bring your fields back closer to you, coming back into your own room, and that you throughout the day can be conscious of the beautiful energies that you bring, even if it's through Zoom, to your family and to the universe. And that we thank each other for showing up on the call and for creating this new reality. I ask you to just slowly bring your attention back into your body, wiggling your toes or your fingers, noticing your breath, and opening your eyes. Y'all come back, you hear? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.